Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. Wanted to just do a little live video here, talk about this market. It is very, very interesting. Um, Let me show you my screen here. So a little bit about what I've been talking about lately, which is I think we're moving out of AI, out of the builders into sort of the users, into that broader economy. So we can see really some incredible moves here, moving into GE Vernova, for example. Boy, that popped $100, came back down a little bit, and it's going. So some of the infrastructure plays which I've been positioning in, right? So I think the key to this market is you don't want to necessarily get stuck in some of the same old names, right? There's a risk in basically playing what has been working, right? Usually you want to play momentum. It's been working, keep going, keep pushing. But we can see today a very good example of how we're not really getting that high beta follow through here, right? So, and that really makes sense because that has really been the texture of this market, has been the high beta, the sort of big sort of swinger type names have not really been going, right? I'm not talking about the Goldmans things. That's entirely different. But if you really feel that texture lately, the data center plays haven't really been going. There have been some chip makers like Broadcom, a few different names, very bifurcated sort of semiconductor area. So it's difficult to play that area because there's really some are doing great and some are doing very, very so-so. And really, the difference is that we've really moved into a new phase here where this is starting to really, really broaden out. So if you look at IWM, for example, excuse me, still getting over something. Here we go. Look at this from 230 all the way back to 255. Nice, beautiful breakout to all-time highs today. But let's see, what are some of the usual suspects? Now, I have a whole bunch of this. I've been trimming the last couple of days to move into some other things. But look, here's your Nebius. This is one of my very, very favorite data center names. And I'm going to keep a position in this because AI is nowhere near done. It is absolutely not done. The build out continues. The inference phase is early stages. We're just going to keep going and going and going. So I really believe, hey, thanks for joining, guys. Say hi in the chat if you can. And so there are going to be some areas that have really lagged. And so software, for example, here is your Salesforce, right? So remember, Salesforce, as I put out a video a couple months ago, I said, listen, this is a company that's probably turning the corner a little bit and handling AI. So I think there's a very good chance this could go. And if we look at the software index, it is coming back, right? So look at the software index really, really coming back. And starting to perform very well against some of the hardware makers, right? So this is an area where you can kind of chip away. It is fraught with some difficulties because we don't really know who's going to figure this out and who isn't. And we've got Adobe tonight after the close. This is going to be very, very interesting. This looks very much. Oh, sorry, that was Adobe. This is your Salesforce, really, really outperforming, beautifully outperforming, breaking up through here. They were very doubtful for some reason. I'm underwater in a couple of plays here, but they're really, really coming back strong. I got a 270, 290 call spread that was all but dead right down here, and it's really, really coming back into the picture here. Adobe is the one that we're not as sure about, right? Because software is disruptible, very disruptible. Look at this coming down, breaking out through here. Now, if they put out a good report and it looks like they're handling AI adequately, I think it could really go. But again, this is a name where 4 or 5 years from now, I don't know where they're going to be necessarily because AI, look at Nano Banana, it's really unbelievable. Now, the big stars of the day for me are my two of my favorites, right? We know that Google's been my favorite up to recently. And I told you guys, I said, I've sold out of almost all of it. I sold out of almost all of it between 320, a little bit of 300, between 320 and 326. And what did I rotate into? Even more Goldman Sachs. So when I rotated out of Google, we were down around here, and we've moved up we've moved up $100, over $100. This is a company that is going to do well in the broadening, right? That's what I love about Goldman, is that it is the everything stock, and it's even an AI stock, right? This is an AI stock. So you have to realize that many different areas of the economy, many different parts of the stock market are going to be AI stocks in some sort of secondary, tertiary way where they are going to benefit. That's the amazing thing about it. So, and that's what we're starting to see. We're seeing the broadening in profit margins starting to affect mid market, mid cap market kinds of things, and that's going to move into the IWM. Another name that I like because it is mostly small cap, super cash flow positive name. So this is one that you can play. The CALF is the CAF. It's going to maybe have a better shot because it's higher quality type names, and especially now that we see that rates are not necessarily going to come plunging down. Although the difference between what Powell does and what the market does is very different, right? We've cut rates significantly, and we're not really seeing very much of a reaction on a yield. So there's still a little bit up in the air here. But IWM does have maybe 40% not really, nobody really making any money, and quite a bit of debt in that basket. So we kind of have this situation here where, here we go. You can see down here, look at the vol getting crushed, absolutely smashed across the board. Now, there are some names out there like Nebius that are still a little bit expensive, right? So you can see this, the option pricing in the blue here, relatively high here, sort of kind of mid-range-ish, but I'd say that's pretty high given that we're at a VIX 15-ish and a lot of other names have come down, have gotten crushed lately. So this is a name where I'm selling some calls against this, right? Do I sell calls against everything willy-nilly? Absolutely not. In fact, I only strategically do it when it makes sense. Right here, it's a sector, it's a stock, it's a theme that's struggling a little bit. I'm getting nice premiums, so I've been extracting something out of that for now, but I'm ready to flip the other way if this gets going again, because this is one of those data center names I love. Now, Micron, you guys know I love Micron. I've been pounding the table. I pounded it on every single show, on Oliver Rennick's show, on every show that I've done. I've said Micron. So since about 150, I said, listen, this is DRAM, shortages, pricing power, everything. So we're going to see a report from them on the 17th in a few days. So we got another week for this to kind of figure out where it wants to be ahead of earnings. Of course, we see the short-term option pricing a little bit high because of that earnings event. We've seen some of the longer term options, excuse me, we've seen some of the longer term options get compressed a little bit. I like that, right? So I've seen what I warned members about in Leaps Trader and in the community is that over time, over the last 6 or 7 weeks, I've said, I'm very careful here. So instead of buying options in things like Micron and Nebius and Goldman and things like that, I've been actually buying stock, a few in the monies, but I have not wanted the exposure to the VIG exposure, which is basically the sort of exposure to option pricing. So we've seen option pricing get crushed, and I just wanted that full upside, sort of 100 delta, right? When you're long stock, you're long 100 deltas. So that felt comfortable to me in a market where I felt that options may get a little bit crushed. Now I have a position on Netflix. This is a little bit of a problem here. It's not massive, thankfully. And these guys are going to be amazing at some point. The more content, the better. The more brands, the better, right? In a world of AI creates everything, brands are going to have some value. Here is your Goldman again. Now, a couple of the areas that I'm shifting a little bit out of, things like Rocket for now. I want to see a little bit more confidence in perhaps some rate cuts and in an improving economy, because this is an area where it's an amazing company, and I don't feel that it's going to be. I think it's going to do well over time. But I think this is an area where I don't want a ton of exposure to rate sensitive areas. Look at what housing is doing today. Big bounce in housing. That's Pulte. And then we've got DR Horton, another builder. So, but I don't know if I love that area, because I'm a little bit skeptical of the ability for the housing market to unfreeze right at this point. I think we'll be given enough signals, right? I don't believe in pushing things that aren't necessarily going to pan out right now. Another one of my stocks that I did love a little bit higher, Figma. It's really kind of marching its way back. I do think coding and that kind of area is a little bit of a touchy area, but I think Figma has something very unique in the agentic AI world, where What have we got here? Oh, yeah, there we go. Some of the more defensive plays, like kind of old age homes, stuff like that. Look at this REIT here coming down, Well Tower coming down a little bit. This is one of the areas where they've been a little bit more skeptical. But one area that has been somewhat defensive that I love to see acting well. I love to see it acting well right now in today is healthcare. So I've been positioning, I've been getting in Turbo Trader Pro, the Turbo Trader Pro scanner program. We've got a whole bunch of new members in there. Very lucky to have this incredible program where we do income as well as upside. And you can check it out in the description. Price is going to be tripling very soon. So definitely check it out. And this acting well, right? So I think this is an area that is going to continue to benefit from AI. So I'm not as worried about the defensive nature that it has exhibited over the last little while. Here is Merck as well. For me, I kind of went into the basket for now because I don't know enough about the individual companies, and I think this is an area where there's a fair bit of uncertainty as to who's going to kind of figure this out, right? Who's going to put AI to work? Who's going to? I mean, at the best of times, certain areas of healthcare, bio, things like that, we don't really necessarily know unless we're really connected to that theme. We don't really know who's going to kind of knock it out of the park. So this is an area where I think playing a broader basket like an XLV is actually not a bad way to go. So in Turbo we did some an income plus an upside today. Actually no, we only did the income, and this is another one I like to be in because of that explosive nature, right? So discovery, health discovery, bio, genomics, that kind of area has that ChatGPT potential, right? That potential for, oh my God, they just figured X, Y, and Z out, and that's extremely exciting. So you can see how it's been resilient in the face of higher beta not doing as well. So this is kind of, I think this is really good action. It's held that 9 EMA. It's held that 9 EMA. We've got a whole bunch of greens on here. By the way, you get my MTI indicator, the MTI indicator, as well as the super MTI in the Turbo Trader program, as well as the scanner. Let me show you guys the scanner quickly. I know some of you have been curious about it. Let me show you that right now. So that's really kind of the area the areas that I've sort of been focusing on. I like to see, I'll show you the scanner in a moment. I like to see that the dividend, so this is the dividend stock basket, doing well, right? So this illustrates a bit of comfort as far as rates are concerned, right? I do not want to see this break down right now. This is good action, and I'm happy to see that. So I think all around, I think Powell was maybe just slightly hawkish, but not that hawkish, right? So I don't think he was that hawkish, and I think that's a green light for the market in general. One of the infrastructure names that I really like, have been adding to this today, Eaton Corp. So this is infrastructure electrification. These are areas that are going to be important, like GEV, which I'm already in, and another one, NEE, but I'd like to see this one act a little bit better. So it really is a tale of some of the things not doing as well as we see that broadening continue. So that's why we've been focusing on that broadening theme a little bit more. Some of the finance names, some of the banks, some of the infrastructure names that have to continue to take part in this massive build. The industrialization is coming back around the world, right? So it is absolutely going to continue as things get built out. A lot of things need to be fixed and upgraded and all that stuff that's important, especially when it comes to power. So I think very interesting. Some of that, this is a perfect theme where I think that's actually, I think this is going to struggle a little bit, right? Some of these sort of high flyer nuclear sorts of things, especially in the face of putting data centers in space, which obviously isn't going to happen tomorrow, but any change in narrative can kind of hurt some of the strong stories that we have seen lately. So that's about it, guys. And I want to show you the Turbo Trader in case you are interested. We have got this on sale Right now, it's going to go up significantly. And you can see this is 3 decades of what I have learned in my 15 years pro market maker, another decade, over a decade, managing a whole bunch of income funds, volatility arbitrage, options arbitrage. I mean, you name it, quant, on the derivative side of things, I have done everything, and I've built this with all of that in mind. There's nothing like it on earth. There are all kinds of things out there. Unusual Whales does this and that and whatever. This tells you all the things that you need to know for stability, for strength, for income, as well as upside when it makes sense. Because income is great. Look, I've managed hundreds of millions of dollars in income funds. I'm all for it, but not all the time. You have to be strategic about it. And a tool that helps you be strategic, look at this. You've got basically a number of names. It gives you your alpha momentum. These are all baskets, that use technicals, volatility, all kinds of volatility metrics, various dynamics, flows, money flows, to really give you an idea of where things are going. Here's healthcare looking a little bit weak now. We had very strong on the weekly, very, very strong. So this is where you can kind of see things happening, right? You want to see things happening. Again, this is Google, for example, this has been a green, and it is very, very strong green. If you look at something that isn't, here's one. Oh, here's MGY, which is an energy name. On our list here. This is actually kind of interesting because energy doesn't often pop on here, but we've got some interesting names popping in. We've got an up yellow, which means this is freshly considered an income trade. So this is on the radar for some potential income trades. This is one, for example, in healthcare, where you've got this left arrow, you've been downgraded, you're going left, it's still incomey, it's okay, but you want to be aware of these trends. And then coming up, we're going to have what I call my eject button strategy, which is going to tell you when to get out of these things, right? What do people struggle with? They struggle with getting in trades, getting in good trades. And frankly, they won't admit it, but they struggle with staying away from crappy trades. And that really is my entire world. I bill at $8.30 an hour for mentoring, and I turn it away because I only have so much time. But this is the chance to get into my brain for a heck of a lot less for what, 3.5 hours of my time. It gets you a whole year of cutting down on your workload and figuring out things that you're not going to figure out without 3 decades of having done this. And so this is really kind of keeping you on those rails, right? On those rails like a train, and away from the things that that don't matter. So this one here, down, incomey, it's been downgraded. Not as good. And this thing is, as I said, is going to give you those exit points, right? It adjusts with the market environment. You can't just do the same thing all the time. That is how people get into trouble in general. And that's why income funds do pretty crappy in general. And so there's a better way. So, hope you like that. And of course, these bigger risk gauges up here that help you to keep your eye on the bigger trends. We've got some of these ones here. This is scanning for names in the AI space, a little bit slightly different qualifications to get into this list. And then the universe table of a lot of names that I really like thrown in here that we can watch. Eventually I'm going to have 500 names in here in not too long. And so this is really something to keep you on board. You're interested in something, you can come in here, take a look. Is it green? Is it red? Is it yellow? Where's that trend? Where is it coming from? Where is it going? Is it weak? Is it strong? Is it is it a super arrow? Is it a super down arrow? Super up arrow? What are we seeing here? For example, we've got the squeeze ratio, really, really fast money. How is that looking? We've got a blockchain beta tilt. That is the blockchain basically versus kind of, the smaller kind of coin world versus some of the bigger caps. How is that looking? What are the vols telling us? What are the technicals telling us? What are the flows telling us? Well, it gives you that. It's not telling you a lot of good right now. Down here, we can see gold. We've said really patchy for gold, isn't it? It's been very, very strong and it's kind of stalling out a bit. So what I like about this is you can kind of see recent performance and you can kind of compare that to the weekly. So sometimes you see something happening on a shorter term time frame, and then you can kind of compare that to, well, is this a real trend or is this a big change in trend? What do we want to know as income traders, as option traders, and really, frankly, as investors in general? We want to know where are the durable trends? People ask me, how do you know? How do you do this? How do you get into these things before they take off? Like, how is your timing so good? At times, right? Not always, but how does your timing tend to be really, really good? Well, I think of things differently. I think of them durably. I'm not running into some stock because my neighbor told me about it, or some guy on CNBC mentioned it because he's trying to plug his book, or he's he's a real estate guy and he's got an opinion on real estate, but he runs a real estate fund. Okay, yeah, I guess I guess you're slightly biased, right? So the idea is you want to figure out durable trends, durable sorts of trends, momentum, etc. And that's really going to make a difference to you over time. EQT, for example, great energy name in there, beautiful. We did a trade on that the other day. That is very incomey, right? It is not telling you it's a horse out of the barn kind of situation yet, but we watch for those signals to kind of rotate into a new picture and a new state to give us a little bit more insight into what to do. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an overview on how this stuff works. If you click on any of these, you can get into the charting, you get those indicators going, and also you get the indicator. So I want to show you this. You get the indicator, a number of indicators. You're going to get the exit indicator. You're going to get the MTI indicator, of course, which is this. You're going to get the super indicator. And so this is going to be something that you can use on anything, right? So you can have your stock watch list. This is something you get for free with a free TradingView account. But you're able to put in anything, right? It doesn't have to be something from the scanner. It can be, you know what, I want to watch Rivian. Okay, so here's Rivian. It's going to give you your indicators, going to give you where to get in, get out, all that stuff. And it's going to give you a real good view. So that's really nice that you can kind of apply this to really anything. No one's railroading you into getting into a position you don't want to get into. The scanner is telling you, 30 different reasons that this looks good, that a particular situation looks good, but you don't have to do that. And everyone's got their favorites, right? I've got my favorites. I've got names that aren't never on the scanner that I always trade because I'm a creature of habit. And that's why a great tool is a great tool, because it pulls you away from those habits that you have. And quite frankly, a lot of people don't have the best habits. And that's why a tool that can keep you on the rails, inside the cones, right? Like daddy's home. You got to stay inside the cones like an ice cream. I hope you guys get that reference. I just saw that because it's a Christmas movie. But so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's see what happens in this market. I think Fed days can be very, very noisy, and you can really flip the script the next day. That's always possible. But given that December Fed days, in my opinion, tend to be a little bit more durable because this is really sort of a part of the year where a lot of fund managers have underperformed more than we've seen in decades from the standpoint of active fund performance versus passive, right? So comparing a fund performance, all these people on TV, anybody ever ask them, well, what's your fund up? Honestly, does Judge ever ask a single person, what is your fund up or down this year? Never. I don't think I've ever heard that, because you know what? The answer is probably something they absolutely do not want to tell you, because we are at a multi-decade low on fund managers who wear beautiful suits and drive wonderful cars and have Van Goghs on their wall at their corporate office. And they underperform the index, right? So keep in mind, no one is going to care about your money more than you will. Your money, your family's future, where you're going to be your advisor, the portfolio manager on TV. They are interested in gathering as much assets, as much AUM as they can. They want all your money. Trust me, I've worked with them before. That is literally all they think about. How can I get more of this person's money? That literally is the conversation. We want to get more. We know they've got 2 other accounts with other guys. How do we get that? Those are literally the words that come out of their mouth. They are interested in one thing, and that is getting more of your money. And then they tell you later on, well, you can withdraw 4% in your retirement. That's not going to work for a lot of people. So you need to take control of your financial future. And a tool like this is one gigantic leap for you in that respect. And this, combined with Leaps Trader, are really my 3 absolute holistic ways to basically cover it all in the world of options and investing, because that's how I think of things as an investor. If you don't think of things as an investor, then you're going into risk markets and you're not appreciating that there's a risk to miss upside, right? I did that. We had a class today in Turbo Trader, and I said, listen, if you don't think missing upside is a risk, then you're not doing this right. I've had so many people come to me this year and say, you know what, this has been an amazing year for like selling cash secured puts and income in the right names for those kinds of income trades, but I've left like 500 grand on the table. I told you why in certain markets you don't do this. So that's why we play income, we play upside. It's income enhanced. And I'm glad so many people have realized that. That's actually some of the feedback that I've gotten over the years, is that that's the one thing that really resonated with me, is that missing upside is a risk. And it really is. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. We're going to do a couple more shows before Christmas. If I don't see you, have a wonderful time, but you hit that bell down there. Make sure you know when I'm doing a show, when I do a video. We're going to be talking more about Leap Trading. We'll be talking more about Turbo Trader Pro, the scanner, the world's first real scanner, not the BS that I've seen out there before. And so that's it. Take care, everybody. Be healthy, be prosperous, and we'll see you soon.